So Sam, you want me to start?
You're taking the first question, Lance.
I'm taking the first one. All right, sounds good. I'll start it off.
I think you will kind of both be answering, but that's just my that is my how can I put it? My gut feeling.
Okay.
You get to go.
All right. Well, welcome everyone. Thank you for attending this Facebook Live with our esteemed guest today from Barkley Transport. So we have Lance here and Barkley. And we will be discussing employment and what to look for, what does it mean to be an entrepreneur through a set of questions. And I can't wait to hear more about the experiences of our guests today. So first, hi, Barkley, Lance. How are you doing today?
Hey, how you doing? I'm okay. Busy. Blessed to be busy with a lot of work during this pandemic, as people are losing the stability of employment and knowing what's going on the next day. We're keeping steady. So just counting our blessings.
Amazing.
Yeah, so same here. We, Lance and I are both on site at contracts we have now, and just trying to make sure that we maintain the clients that we have and build on top of that. It's a difficult time for everyone now, so we're blessed to still have work. Yep.
Great. Well, great. I know what you mean. For sure, with the pandemic, it has probably put a lot of things in the mix and put things into perspective. You probably had to adapt as well with the ever-changing laws that our province is going through. So good luck, obviously, and keep doing what you're doing. But before we actually get started on questions, I think it would be important to know who you are. I could read a bio, but I think it would be more interesting for everyone to hear from you. So who you are, how did you start, and what type of services do you provide with Barkley Transport?
I guess I'll take the floor. So I'm Lance Clarke, half owner of Barkley Transport. We started a business probably say about 7 years ago. Again, 2 factory workers. I've had experience in transport from working with a lot of the big players in the industry in Montreal. So Le Capital, Clan Panettone, I can kind of go on and on. I started in my early 20s when I was just kind of running around looking for work. And that's where I got my experience. Barkley is pretty much self-made. It's been running small businesses for at least 10 years. So with his skill set and my skill set, we figured we could hit the ground running just to kind of make a little extra cash on the weekend. So we rent a truck and we ran around to the local like thrift stores, dressers, couches, stuff like that. And we spoke to Salvation Army as well. They gave us the contract. So we were doing commercial to residential at first. So it's really just furniture. And then we end up finding this niche of the nonprofits and being able to provide service for them. So that's a little rundown of it.
Yeah, so just overall, we provide residential moving services. We provide commercial transport for companies that are doing packages as well as household goods and furniture. And we also do transport for fresh food produce as well as dry goods for a number of the food banks around the city.
Okay, great. So if I understand correctly, you're operating in Montreal, or do you go through the province of Quebec?
Well, it kind of depends on what's available to us at the time. We usually have a staff, usually of about 8 to 10 guys. And just depending on the demand that we have at the time, we take work. We've gone to Toronto, Ontario a few times, so we're willing to go beyond the border walls as well. But we really operate out of the southwest of Montreal and more kind of like the western half. We tried to conquer all of Montreal and realized we weren't really ready for that at the time. So we've peeled back and we're just kind of dealing with the demographic mainly of the Southwest and kind of building from there. So we're based out of two locations, out of Little Burgundy and out of Lachine in the industrial area.
Okay, very interesting. And one, I think when I was listening to you talk about how you know, you were, when it first started, you decided to join your forces with both expertise to cover more ground and to start the business. I'm curious to know when did you really think, hey, you know what, Lance, Barkley, like we have something there, we have the right idea. Can you maybe walk me through this aha moment that you have and that you decided to embark on this initiative?
You can take us some marks.
I don't know if it was an aha moment as much as it was a lot of growing pains. I think as we started to build, and you know, we're just two young men jumped in the truck and started offering our services. And at some point, if you do a good job, then word starts to spread and you get more business, God willing, right? And then from there, you realize that you can't do it all yourself and have to begin to build a workforce. And I think it was the gradual progression of us consistently offering a good service to our clients that forced us to grow and have to start to hire individuals. And from there, once you start to hire, you know, you look around you and you start hiring your friends. And then you start to realize the issues of being an employer. And I think that's what helped us get to the point where we realize, you know, we really want to work with companies and organizations that, like us, are about the community, want to see the betterment of individuals, want to support the community, and feel like, you know, as we just worked more and more with like-minded individuals or clients, we just feel like, you know, this is our offering, this is our lane, and really feel comfortable, you know, going to work every day and building this business, knowing that, you know, we're employing people from our community and we're offering great service to our clients that are also having a social impact on the community.
I'm curious about that part. Oh, I'm sorry, Lance. You were about to say something.
No, I was gonna say it's funny because we seem to be getting a lot of attention for the work we're doing, but it really was kind of just a natural progression, because me and Barkley's entrepreneurs, we have ideas of what we want for ourselves, you know, and we might have different methods of thinking of how we're going to get to it, but at the end of the day, the goal is the same. So when we're hiring our friends and we're bringing them on, we're starting to see all of these, basically all the baggage that comes with being Black and Anglo in Montreal. So, you know, financial literacy, not really understanding protocol, employability. So there was just so many factors. And instead of kind of just hanging them out to dry and like hiring other people, why are we not helping the people around us? And because Barkley has a very deep background in the nonprofit with the Desta Youth Network, he kind of had the ins and outs. So as we started to kind of develop the situation, again, it was me and him kind of trying to do it. No real training, no real understanding of the endeavor we're taking on. So we tried to start teaming up with community centers to do the work on the back end. And then we realized that we have our own idea of what young men need as far as to feel fulfilled, instead of just kind of going to school and sitting down and kind of doing those employment programs. If we're able to bring them on the job, they're earning their own money. They have their own, like, they're treated as individuals. And then we kind of had to hand off the expertise to those that actually know what they're doing. So we linked up with an individual, Trevor Myers. He was a businessman from Jamaica. He actually started a program for eyewear, where he was giving it out to schools.
Okay.
And so he had, and that program went for like 10, 15 years. So he had a real good clue of what he was doing. He had it all mapped out. So once we gave him ideas, we were able to hit the ground running. So I'd say that was probably a little over a year and a half ago, where we really anchored down and saying, hey, we can't do all this heavy lifting by ourselves. Let's get the experts in to do what they need to do. So there's not really an aha moment per se as much. It was like a gradual thing where we realized, we're doing more than just kind of servicing these stores. We're helping employ underemployed youth, people that might be having trouble due to things that they've done in the past, and just kind of giving them that clean slate. So I don't know if we had to pinpoint it, I'd say maybe 2 years ago, where we really thought like this is the meat on the bones. And so that's what I would say.
Yeah, this is very inspiring, right? Where you decided conscious and intentionally to focus part of your business for social impact, right? When you have organizations that would dedicate a lot of resources to see what type of social impact they can have, and yet you did it organically, right? And I
Yeah.
find it very inspiring. So thank you guys. I just see that we have some question on the chat. I'm just gonna ask you one question, and then I'm gonna jump on the question in the chat because I think it's quite relevant to the questions that we have. So my next question is, in terms of hire, you were talking about, when you're hiring, sometimes it was around, okay, well, yeah, maybe right off the bat like this, the employability of the people that you wanted to hire were not up to your expectations, but what can you do, right? Like to make sure that you can at least contribute to the solution of this type of problem. So when you go about and to hire people to work with Barkley Transport, is there something in particular that you're looking for? And if I can push it a little bit more, how do you judge if someone is going to be suitable or coachable for the job in the long run?
Yeah, I think the number one thing we're looking for are individuals that are hardworking and want better for themselves. And the way we've gone about the process is, like Lance said, is that we realized that we had to put in place a structure to be able to do our recruitment and onboarding process. So essentially, Trevor Myers, our HR and community liaison, when we have a contract or a project or are looking for new employees, he basically goes out to the community and works with community organizations for referrals. And then we do a series of interviews just to be able to get as much data on the individual as possible so we can know exactly what we're dealing with. And then from there, we would bring you on board in a very structured way and then see what the issues are. Once you start working with someone, people put their best foot forward, but as you work with them, you see what the issues are, and you begin to work with them basically on a one-to-one basis. So that's what Trevor does. He'll work with them in a personalized way to mentor them throughout their time being employed with us. But as long as they are hardworking and want better for themselves, then we can find a way to make it work, because that's when, we work with organizations like the CJE to be able to help us with employability skills and other aspects of the employment process.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's basically it. Again, a lot of turnover in the beginning, a lot of handshakes, show up on time, don't worry, I got you. And we basically realizing what we're developing, again, because it's very organic, very natural. When we realized it, we said, hey, we got to just add more structure to what we're doing. So, just like your typical job descriptions, code of conduct, just basic requirements. And then again, it's on a day-to-day basis. It's on a case-by-case And it's funny because we're having a little trouble trying to decipher, because, you know, one guy will be like, hey, well, I seen this guy came in late this day, or he had to go early that day. And so it's like we're still trying to figure out the kinks in all of it. But for the most part, is what Barkley's saying. As long as they're trying to better yourself and we see that effort being put forward, we're willing to work with you. And we also have clients that understand what we're doing and the nature of what we're doing, so they tend to be a little more forgiving as well. So again, we're still in the beginning stages of it. So give us a year and we'll have something a little bit more mapped out for you.
Well, I think you are doing something absolutely amazing. To have this really embedded into your business model is already very powerful, right? So thank you for that. So I have here two questions from Kemba Mitchell. And she says here as well, like, very proud of what you guys are doing. So the first question here, I think if we link it back to what we just talked about, is one, are you both interested? I think we lost Barkley, right? Yes, he will come back. So Lance, you will have to answer for now.
No problem.
So are you interested? Oh, came back. Are you interested in offering mentorship workshops for Black youth, particularly catered to Black young men and boys? Because I know that you mentioned that you had some sort of internal mentorship mechanism for your hires, but would you be interested into doing something outside, like with a mentorship workshop?
Yeah, definitely. Really, where we're at right now is we're really just trying to set the programs and the workshops up internally to see what sticks. And then from there, we tried to translate it over into other avenues. But right now, we're really just trying to figure out what our stride is right now. So before the pandemic, so I'd say about November 2019, we started offering our guys financial literacy workshops. So it was paid as well. So if you're not there that day, we cut the day short, and the last 2 hours of the day come in. We hired, I forget the name of the organization, but we were working directly with them, and they'd send a mentor in. You sit down, and we kind of just have a roundtable discussion. And we wanted to make it a very natural thing. So it's kind of like, hey, just kind of throw your questions up on the board, and we'll be able to answer them, and then kind of dive. So it's almost like set a platform on where we should start our financial literacy. But then with the pandemic and having limited amount of people in each room, that didn't go too well. So it's basically on the shelf for right now. And again, it comes down because me and Barkley right now are really trying to focus on running the business. Yeah. So the more support we have from outside of the company to help us develop things like that, then we'd be more than willing to. But we're only two people, and as you can see, we're on site right now. You know, so we'd love to offer it, but right now we just don't have the resources to.
Yeah, Julie, I think if my internet connection went out for a sec, but if it's the response to Kemba Mitchell's question about how community organizations can help.
It was for the second question, but I was going to go for the first one as well, so you can answer it if you want. Like, so the question, the first question is also like as a follow-up, what more can community organizations do to support your business?
Oh, okay. I did want to say that we also hire women, so our staff is not just men, and we right now, like Lance was saying, definitely as far as recruitment and referrals from the community and community organizations, that definitely would help us. And once somebody is referred, you know, a lot of the times the community organizations or the agent that referred, a lot of times has a lot more knowledge of the issues that the individual is dealing with than we would as their new employer. So just thinking that a lot of times we need the person with the relationship to help guide the process and still remain there while we're doing the onboarding process. So that definitely helps. And I think, you know, as we develop
Oh, you did?
our employment process, I think we'll become more clear about the needs, the other needs that we might need from the community. But I'd say the first one is really when doing referrals, that they would still be a part of the process and just wouldn't like send a referral and then leave us to deal with the employee.
Great. Well, thank you so much for this. And I think it's wonderful that you are hiring both men and women, because I think when people think about, moving, constructions, etc., they may think, oh yeah, men, when the reality is, both gender can do it, right? And yeah, well, thank you so much for answering Kemba's question. And she wants to connect, so we will give you her email so that you can follow up on this question. All right. So my next question for you is in regards to being two Black men in Montreal. I would like to know, how has being Black influenced your business choice, and what type of experience did you have starting a business as a young Black man, and up to now, what was the influence?
Well, being Black is the influence. Well, being Black and Anglo in Montreal, you come up with your fair share of obstacles, for lack of a better word. So really, and another thing is too, as a young man, and you feel like you have a certain amount of pride, I guess, with work and things like that. So you don't necessarily want to be a cashier or someone working at a fast food restaurant. So when you go out and you're, I guess you consider yourself athletic or whatever the case may be, you go out there and you do this type of work, and it's like it's two-sided, right? So you're able to go and put in a good hard day's work, and physically you feel completed and you got the job done for that day. And also it was kind of it was accepting. I didn't have to go in there and try to impress anyone. I just had to show up and do a good job. So when I got in originally, it was through a man named Trevor Stewart. It was actually a white guy that lived in the neighborhood, and he just thought, hey, why don't you just come to work with me? So when I went, it opened up the door for me and all of my homies in the neighborhood, NDG St. Henry. And before you know it, we were like 10, 11 guys that were kind of hanging out on the corner and stuff like that. And we got an opportunity, so we were all there. And if I had to say, probably out of the 11 guys, 6 or 7 of us are still in the industry with our own separate contracts and stuff like that. So I definitely think as a young man, being able to be in a group that you feel comfortable with, and you can crack certain types of jokes, and you can kind of be yourself on the job, it made it a lot more welcoming. But again, it's French Canadian. That was what I kind of came up around. So I dealt with those, the little jokes, the side jokes, the this, the that, the undertones. But at the end of the day, you work hard, they respect what you do. And I was able to kind of carve my name out in that industry. And so that's kind of what led me to where I am now.
And what about you, Barkley?
Yeah, again, excuse me.
Oh, no problem.
On site.
we understand. We understand. Both hardworking.
Yeah, I think a large reason why I went into entrepreneurship is because of my experiences in the job market, where essentially, like, I joke about it all the time, but I've been fired from every job I've ever been at, which is, and I think a large part of that is because of self-sabotaging and not feeling comfortable in certain work environments. So just figuring out ways to mess up the opportunity. And at some point I realized that I wanted to work in a space that was more comfortable to me. I want to work for somebody that understood kind of me culturally that understood my experience, and wasn't able to find that, so I decided to create my own employment. So I think one of the reasons why, Lance and I are hiring from our communities, because we know that that's definitely an issue when you're in the job market, when you have to go into workplaces and basically adapt culturally, because not when you go into a workplace, for example, that is completely French, then basically when in Rome, you got to do as the Romans, you know what I mean? And we want to provide Black people within Montreal and especially Anglophones, a space where a work environment that they feel comfortable, where the music, the language, the conversation is something that they're familiar with, and can just focus on working,
Don't forget the food.
Very important.
Yes. My bad.
Well, that's, yeah. I can only imagine that. Well, it seems that you both have a different experience of how you started, right, and what it meant to be two Black men, and yet very similar at the same time, right? So, what would be your advice, or two advices, for Black youth who are struggling right now with career choices and maybe perceived lack, and clearly lack of opportunities right now in the job market?
Well, it's something that me and Barkley came across. It was actually something that entrepreneur Mark Cuban said, where it's sometimes, and this might be a little crushing, but sometimes it's not about your dreams. Sometimes it's about the opportunities that you have in front of you and making the best of those. So really and truly, it's almost like taking lemons and making lemonade. I can't tell anybody that's pursuing their dream career what to do or how to go about it, but I'm just saying, don't look past what you have in front of you. Count your blessings, see what's in front of you, and try to maximize as much as you can off of the opportunities that you get. And me and Barkley are actual products of that. We just put in the work, put our head down, did the work, and now we, in quotations, have a successful business. And every other day I'll sit there and think, I'm just doing trucking. I could be doing something else and changing the world in some other way, or making all this money, but I'm seeing the impact that we have. So it really depends on what you want out of your job and your career. Is it money? Is it fulfillment? So it's a question for you to ask yourself.
Yeah, I definitely have to agree with that. I can't get up here and tell people to like, basically I agree with what Lance is saying, in the sense where when you're starting from the bottom, you're starting from the bottom. So you do what you got to do to get yourself in the position where you have more options. And I would definitely stress to individuals to know exactly where you're at. If you're on the bottom, know you're at the bottom and you got to work your way up. It's tough if you're not aware where you're at and you think you have more or are worth more than you are. And it's very hard to be in situations where maybe you think you're not getting your value. So that's definitely one thing I would tell individuals, and have a plan, so that as you're in a space, wherever you are, whether you're building yourself up or you're at the top of the mountain, wherever it is, but wherever you'd like to go, have a plan, so that as you go into work every day, you have something that motivates you continue, and you see progress. So it makes you want to continue, where the end of the road is for you. So that's one of the reasons why Lance and I stress financial literacy, because we're aware that we're offering individuals manual labor in the transport industry and the potential of having a career within the transport industry. But physical work you can only do for so long, and we want individuals while they're making money with us to be smart with their money, to invest, to be able to make good decisions, so that they continuously create situations where they have more options for themselves.
Mm-hmm. Perfect. All right. Well, listen, well, like we're pretty much done, but I had one last question for you. So if someone was, like, I don't know, one of your former hires or a you that you mentored was reading your bio in 10 years, what would you want them to say about you?
Well, I'm really more of a numbers guy. So I don't want anyone's opinion. I just want to see the amount of people that we've helped, the amount of stock that we've moved, the amount of miles on the road. I just want it to be something that is inspiring to the youth. And what I'd actually like is a lot of testimonials, a lot of people saying, hey, I was here at one point and I came into the business and I felt like I was at home and I acquired these skills, like real life skills, not just, something to make you feel good, like real practical skills, investing, again, making good decisions, stuff like that. That's essentially what I would like.
Yeah, likewise. I think if individuals can say that they came into our business and they were able to better themselves, we were able to give them an opportunity, and as employers, we cared enough to make sure that they grew, whether it's with us or after they leave. I think that would be good. We have a small business. There's only so many people we can hire, but the individuals that do come into our sphere, we would hope are impacted and inspired that they too can build their own business no matter what the industry. They can also hire their peers and from their community. So I think if Lance and I can become kind of an example of a successful business that has gone about it the way we have and focused on bettering our community by offering great service to our clients and hiring from our community, we'd hope that there'd be a lot of tentacles, or whatever we'd like to call it, that would grow from our employees and the people that we've touched.
This is beautiful. Well, thank you guys so much for your time, and so sorry for the intrusion and everything that happened at the same time in the chat. So really want to thank you for being so candid and transparent with what you went through with your business. It was really inspiring, and I know that for me personally, I will make sure to recommend you whenever there will be a need that Barkley Transport can cater to. I will make sure to mention your name. So once again, thank you so much for everything that you're doing, and thank you for being an inspiration for other people around, and for your words of wisdom once again. So thank you so much.
No problem.
Yes, and from BCRC again, I apologize wholeheartedly for all of that. Thank you so much for taking the time to speak to us about this great company that you all have created, and look forward to seeing it develop and provide opportunities for more Black folks in this city. And yeah, have a great day. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for your time, and thank you for the opportunity, guys.
Perfect.
Have yourself a good day.
You too.
You too.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you.